Now, the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai 2 days ago accused an unspecified person in Nigeria's presidency of working against the interest of Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of his political party, that's the All Progressives Congress, with just a few weeks to the February 25th presidential election. Now, less than 24 hours later, Aisha Buhari, who is wife of President Muhammadu Buhari, echoed Governor El-Rufai's allegations through a series of tweets. Now, despite the ensuing denials, there seems to be a growing view that APC is managing a very delicate situation which could indeed scuttle its chances during the general election. Bola Bakare is a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, and he joins us now. Good afternoon, Mr. Bakare. Thank you for joining us here on Newsday.
Thank you, my dear. I'm glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. Now, I'd just like to start with the basics. In the event that we looked at, that the peace accord was honored, right from the start, right from the time when it was signed, and the focus was on issues and not necessarily being pointed at, or fingers being pointed at individuals. Do you think that this picture could have played out differently than what we see it as today?
My dear, thank you for having me on your program. If I understand you brightly, what you're trying to happen is the element of the statement that was made by Governor Nasir El-Rufai. In that statement, he made a statement of fact. And the onus is now on us in the media to read it accordingly and justly. Honestly, I can tell you this for free. In most cases, we go overboard at times. What is said is simple in itself. If and only if we Nigerians and our viewers back at home can just sit back a little bit and listen to my own analogy about how things work out. If you call a place State House, it's just like the normal human parlance that we use on the street. Soldier come, soldier go, barrack remains. There are people there who were working for government. An administration will come in and it will go. The same way it happens with ministries, minister will come in, but the civil service, that is the engine room that runs the affairs of the country, still remains. When El-Rufai was running Inferences, he was running an inference that does not, I repeat, does not necessarily mean the APC. When it comes to governance, we are in a democracy, and what democracy means is, if APC is the incumbent, democracy demands that we have a vibrant opposition so that we can run that democracy properly. So also, if you are running an administration as an incumbent, there are other people that are part of the engine room. I'll tell you this for free. There are a lot of people at the villa that are apolitical. They don't belong to any political party. They do their work as they deem fit. That's one. Two, there are appointees in the villa that are not members of the All Progressive Congress. Three, there are people there, there are residents there by virtue of relationship or what have you that are there too. And honestly, in every world, in every setup, in every nation on earth, there are people that we call VIPs. There are people that we call VVIPs that do not necessarily belong to any political party, but they wield a lot of power. That is what is called power in itself. So when Governor El-Rufai was running Inferences, he wasn't talking about the APC per se. Because what you're trying to tell me now is APC, it's at loggerheads with itself, because we've had that with the PDP. That is not what is happening. El-Rufai is making a statement of fact for Nigerians to know what is happening. That our democracy that has been coming on since 1999 and we've been managing it. Honestly, we believe in democracy and governance being a continuum. We've continued with it. And we are going to, APC is going to continue with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Little wonder the man said, I am going to continue on the legacies of President Muhammadu Buhari. For God's sake, there is no, I repeat, there is no imbroglio inside of the APC. Whatever it is you're seeing, It is by virtue of people that are actors, but not APC actors. Okay. And honestly, they belong to the system too.
All right, Mr. Bakare, thank you so much for clarifying that statement about the elements within Aso Rock as referred to by the governor. Now, I'd like to get a little bit of insight on some of the members of the APC who've been notably silent or relatively absent throughout the campaign process. The new PDP group, for example, with Rotimi Amechi, the Rochas Okorocha group and his APCA group that he brought in, and then the Christian group as well. We haven't seen as much activity from them as we would have expected during such a critical campaign. Can you shed light as to some of the factors that have led to this notable silence that has been observed?
Thank you, my dear. Without sounding garrulous or rude to you, in the APC, we have our own mode of operation, our own modus operandi. It is not everybody that is going to come on air like Bola Bakare, who belongs to the Public Affairs Department, Directorate, that is going to do the talking. There are those behind the scenes, just like you are. I'm a media person too. I know what's going on. I am just one person here seated, but there are a lot of people, producers, cameramen, these gaffers, lightning, everybody right behind. Nobody sees them. That is what you are looking at in the APC. They are back players. They are covert players. They are doing a lot of work. It is not everything we do we shout about. It's just like, let me run you an inference when it comes to maybe going to a christening, or maybe your sister or your brother, you're going to their christening. Whatever it is they are doing in the bedroom, it's not your business. But when the baby comes to the fore, they call you all to come and party with them. So those people you are mentioning, those are the people in the back room. Those are the engine rooms. It is not everybody. We are not barbarians. We don't talk, all of us don't talk at the same time. We have our own mode, we have our own structures. That is why we were telling some of them that they do not have structures. Structure is an engineering word. They are the beats, the columns, the beams that holds everything up. In most cases in a house, you don't see the column, you don't see the beam. It is only the beauty of the house outside that you see. The structural arrangement that holds the house up, you don't see it. And those are the men you were mentioning. Those are the men that are the structures of APC. Then people like me are the facade that you see. We are the front office.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bakare. As a premise to the real question I have for you, I'd just like to ask if you think that these elections will be free, fair, and credible, which is the legacy that President Muhammadu Buhari is looking to achieve. And I'd just like you to say yes or no to that, then I ask you what I really want to ask you. Yeah. You want a yes or no, right?
A
yes, please. So it's a yes or no. So since you believe that this will be this will be free, fair, and credible, why is it so important for us to dwell on these elements that will be working in the villa if Nigerians' votes will count? Since the power is being given to the people with the introduction of BVAS and all the other factors that make this election different from what we've seen in the past, then does it really matter if there are elements working in the villa if Nigerians will be able to decide and not those elements?
Thank you, my dear, once again. Let me tell you this for free. Lately, the element of marketing, let's use the word, marketing for the average Nigerian to make sure that their singular franchise, that franchise of one man, one vote, that you can make do with your PVC on hand. The marketing for the PVC has been the greatest this time around in Nigeria. Because the BVAS is a fantastic machine. You can run yourself back to what happened in Osun State, where a lot of things were happening. Some of the officers in charge were trying to see if they can shortchange the system. But in most cases, if not in all cases, it is difficult to shortchange a mechanical device that is not stationary in one place alone. If there are backups, if you mess up with this, the backups will not be messed up with. But what I'm saying here, in terms of free, fair, and credible elections, this is what we are looking at. Honestly, I believe in one thing. In democracy, there has to be dynamism. And when there is dynamism, that is what you're seeing in the APC. We are dynamic in APC. Whatever challenges that comes on, we find solutions to them. Because in life, it is the solution that makes you a better person. And it is the challenge that drives you, that gives you the renewed hope that Nigerians are waiting for come 24th of this month. And I can tell you, for free, we've had some elections, what we call staggered elections, off-season elections in some states. And honestly, INEC is doing a good job. Over those elections, there has been improvements. The latest of which was in Osun State, where there was an anomaly, and the anomaly has been rectified. I can tell Nigerians this, fellow Nigerians, not just listen to me, you can read my lips. The elections is going to be free and fair. Your franchise, your right of one man, one vote, you're free to go out there and exercise it. And I can promise you as a person, and our principal knows this, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows this, he's not shaking. Everybody throws garbage at him. And I'll say this, there is one thing on the African balance. The man that they throw the most garbage at is the greatest of them all.
On that
There's another thing I will tell you.
All right, so we just have 1 minute to go, so I just want to ask very briefly. I'm glad you've used the metaphor of your candidate being the greatest, who's having the most garbage thrown at him, and so forth. One thing that we have picked up from his communication style is that he does seem to prefer to communicate in innuendos, and then what usually happens is that people like yourselves and various other communication experts on the team have to re-explain what he meant when he makes his statements. Now, what are your thoughts on the perception of how this is coming across to the public, that it seems as though your candidate is campaigning as an opposition as opposed to a candidate of the ruling party? I'm sorry, we have just 1 minute. I'm sorry to have to cut you short.
Okay. In response to what you said, what I'm going to tell you in simple terms, in less than 30 seconds, is the simple fact that as an African, when you're laying a statement or maybe an advice or an experience you've been through across to somebody, you use metaphors. As Africans, we use metaphors in talking and we understand it better. There are languages in Nigeria, over 400 of them. In most cases, metaphors get across to them than the English language, which we copied and then we are using as our official language. And honestly, when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is using metaphors, it's all for a good reason of getting across to the people at the grassroots, because they are the ones that matter the most. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you as well, Mr. Bola Bakare, member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. We appreciate your time here on Newsday. Thank you.